The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show.
So let's get Alonzo out of the mess. So you're 14, you're in the States, you're hanging around with the wrong people. What changes? How do you finally, what happened? You're not there. Like, that couldn't be farther from your life now. What was the first thing that changed your life and helped you turn the corner?
Well, the first thing, I think it was God. It was the reason that I'm here. And then comes my wife. I was 14 years old and I was still here. I still did some things that I'm not proud of. And a lot of people think like, why do you come over here if you want to act like that? But when you come with that mindset from over there, the way that you was raised, the way that you go through a lot of things, and don't get me wrong, some of my family, they're very successful. It's just the fact, like the way that I grew up in the area that I grew up, it's totally different mentality. But anyway, the point is like when I come here, I still did some bad stuff, and I didn't realize, because it's always, you try to always hang out with the right people or end up with the cool people. What I mean by that, like the people, they want to go out, they have parties, they have power, and other kind of power that we don't want to be part of it. You just think like, oh, I belong to this group and I have power, but really you don't have nothing, because in a second everything goes away, and you start thinking like, every single time that I get in trouble, I don't have a true friends. I don't have somebody to support me. So when I make sure, when I get here, I still use drugs. I still did bad stuff. And then one night I was dying over doses because I was using the funny stuff. And when something goes wrong, Mike, always you reach to God. Doesn't matter what. You always, even if you don't believe, when something goes wrong, you always go there. Like, God, if you really help me for this time, because I feel like I'm dying. If you're really here, send me somebody that this close to you. And then I start saying that prayer, and I get better. And after I did that prayer, I still go back to the same way. And after like a week later, I meet my wife. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Because, you involved in so many stuff. And then you start seeing this young lady. She want to talk to me. And I don't even speak that much English, I did speak it. I understand it. But I didn't have the whole confidence to go, hey, let's go out. She come over to me and she started asking my name, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, man. So I was like, maybe just a girl that just want to hang out. So she asked me to go to church. And as soon as she said like, hey, you want to go to church? I'm like, oh boy. I start seeing the God that was real. The God that answered my prayer. And it was no cool that I was, just because I got better. And then I'm going to go back to the same stuff. As soon as she started taking me to church, and it changed my whole world when I start seeing the power of God changing my life, pushing her to in my life, like take me all the time to church. I didn't want to go to church, Mike. I just like, why this is not for me. Well, the more that she comes and the more that I think about God, that day when I was praying, it just keep pushing me to go to her. And it's a blessing to be with him, even though some people don't believe. It's okay, but it just changed my whole life. From that time when I was with her, it's changed the whole thing, Mike.
Let me tell you what I thought I heard you say, and you can tell me if I'm picking it up, because it's such a beautiful story. So I hear you. At what age were you overdosed and made this prayer?
I was like 19 years old.
Okay, so you'd been here 5 years. still living that life. I mean, God bless you for surviving, right? A lot of guys would have been in jail or dead or, and it sounds like you're on your way. So you're overdosing. You feel like this is it. I'm dying. And I would say a lot of people respond with God, but I wouldn't say everybody. They say there's no atheists in foxholes. That's not the truth. There are people that are atheists till their last breath. That wouldn't be me. I would be definitely the guy in the foxhole that cried out to God. So, and again, that's a very specific request. I think it would be more common to say, God, if you save me, I'll live my life good, right? If you heal me, right? If I'm you and I feel like I'm dying of an overdose, I would want God the healer to show up. But man, without getting theological, it sounds like God put that prayer in your heart. That's a very specific thing, because Caitlin wasn't going to help. She's not a doctor. She's not going to help your body not die. But it's almost like God gave you the prayer that you needed to pray, which is, I know I can't do this on my own. Please send me someone that can help me. And again, I just feel like that's a prayer that God gave you. Like, this is what I want you to pray, Alonzo. And your heart was open and he called you. And I just think that's beautiful. And like so many of us humans, God miraculously and mercifully says, I'm going to save your life. I'm going to give you the health that you asked for. And we go, great. And go right back to exactly what we want. And but God's faithful. Thank God for God, right? He said, I remember, you didn't just ask for healing. I gave you that, but the real healing is going to be in me. And the way that you're going to come to me is this beautiful young woman who clearly God sent, right? You had nothing in common with her. You barely spoke the same language. Like, I'm dying to do another podcast, have her on and get her perspective, but this seems from our conversations, there's some random woman, right? Unless God sends her, what random girl just come and she had nothing to do in your world, right? This isn't like a woman, whatever you were doing, she was doing the opposite. This is not, and I know Caitlin, we had one of our events in Vegas, and I almost felt bad because Vegas got all this same way. Caitlin's a little younger than me, but if I took my daughter to Vegas, I'd want to protect her from just some of the things, out there. And I felt the same way with Caitlin, like, oh, I need to protect her from this terrible city. She's such a sweet, pure, young woman. So clearly she's out of her world. So that had to be a God. There's no way Caitlin just randomly finds some random Hispanic dude that doesn't speak English and be like, I'm going to hang out with that dude. And Alonzo's a good looking dude, but not that good looking, right? He's not like the Brad Pitt of Mexico where all the women are flocking, right? This is clearly God, I think, gave you that prayer and you prayed it and he answered it. And even though you forgot, once he sent Caitlin and she took you to church and you went, how long did it take for you to distance yourself from those people in that life?
It took me a couple months later after I meet her, but I was not using any more stuff. I'm like, okay, God, once I start realizing, like, because when, like, okay, I pray for this and now she's here. Now she wants to me go to church. Now, and she took me to church, and you got to see me with the long hair and all goofy stuff, You
got a picture. I'm dying to see it, by the way.
I don't want to see it. Anyway, I'm totally different. I'm like, oh shoot, and I like my hair is long, so I'm like, I don't want to cut it. And when she started taking me to church, everybody's really nice to you. I'm like, wow, it's a whole different world here, and I start seeing like people care about you. People, it's not like all this crazy people like you always think like everybody's there to get you at some point. So
it seems like every relationship you had was people trying to use you. I need this, and you're an end to my mean. And how amazing must have that been to find people like, I just love you and care about you as a human being. I don't need anything from you. That must have, I hate to say it, but it would be hard to accept, like, you're full of it. You're faking it. You're trying to, where's the trick? Like, it would be, I mean, again, I guess if God called you to this, maybe he could change your heart, but that might've been hard for me if all I knew is people using me, no one ever just loved me for me, that would be hard for me to just accept.
Yeah. It was a mind blowing, Michael. Like, the way that I was hanging out with people and to see this other person in here, different kind of persons and all nice to you, all invited, and after you're done with the survey, everybody come and talk to you. And like, well, I don't hardly speak English, but I'm like, I can have a little conversation with them. But it was a whole different world. I'm like, wow, I was blown away. And I was like, I always come back to my prayer. Like, this is what I ask. And this is what's happened to me. So it was hard to stop using the stuff, well, it was also hard to stop going away. In some point, I didn't want to get out of my house, and I moved to the house where I live, so nobody knows what I was doing or where they can find me. And it was really a hard battle, as I say. Not try to be dependent for that side. But when I start and go back to where I grew up, you got to do this. You got to, if you say something, you got to commit it and get it done. I go back to there because I was like, okay, I open my heart. I see this young lady coming to me. She's taking to me to church. She's always so nice to me. She, she brought me food to my work, Mike. I'm like, oh wow, okay. And it was funny. I'm gonna share a little funny story. They were having hamburgers in her house, and I guess she said, "Oh, I brought you a hamburger." So I take it by, just eat it, taste it, and I'm like, okay. So I take it by, and she has long hair.
Yeah, his wife's got very long, like down to her bottom, like beautiful hair. And, oh my gosh! And your little daughter's. I was at the event and we were FaceTime. Your little daughter's hair is beautiful. She's so cute. And
Yeah.
Alonzo, I don't know. I never got to see long hair Alonzo, but now he's high and tight, baby.
Well, anyway, so I take a bite of the hamburger, and when you buy it, I pull it out, and it was like a long,
long hair.
She was laughing so hard, and I was like, "Oh man!" I didn't know what to do. Just throw the hamburger or eat it because I don't want to hurt her feelings. I'm like,
I'm not proud. Once I get that hair out, I'm eating it. If it's a good burger, as long as the hair's out, I got no shame.
So yeah, that's what I did. I take off the hair, and I'm like, and she asked me, "Are you gonna continue it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm hungry." But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't really want to throw it out because she brought it to me. I don't even ask for it, and
the hair was a gift of love. Anyone could bring you a hamburger, but she put her own hair, her own flesh and blood.
yeah. Well, turns out it was not hers; it was her mom's.
Oh,
So,
I don't know why that seems a little. If it's a girl I'm dating's hair, I could be okay with it. But like a mom, I'm like, I don't know. I'm less interested in that. All right, so well, first of all, how did you get? It sounds like the group of people that you're hanging out with aren't always okay with you just moving on. Like, how did that transition out make? Was that hard, easy?
it was no hard for me because, like I say, I disappeared. And the guy that I know and trust that it was high up, I talked to him and I kind of explained to him, and he was like, "Well, if that's what you want, go ahead, go get it." And the reason that he was cool with me is because we did some stuff together, and he knows what I did for him, and he kind of like feel in debt to me. So he's like, "Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just don't contact, throw whatever, the cell phone, don't answer. I'll take care of the rest." So he was really helping me too, and I believe it was God. I don't think he would have been so cool to be like, "Oh, just go." And well, he something happened, and I hope a lot in that. I don't want to say everything, and he realized that he could be really get hurt really bad. So from there, he trusts me so much. So when this happened to me, and I opened to him, and I said, "You know what? This has happened to me, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "Okay, well, this is what we got to do. You just lay low and don't answer phone calls, and just do your thing if that's what you really want." And then he said, "Just remember, that's my payback." I said, "Okay, cool." So from there, I start, trying to be and decide. It was so cool, Mike, because this happened right like 6 months into it. And I don't know if my father-in-law or my mother-in-law feel really bad for me because they don't know that I don't have family here. So,
but at the time, they weren't your father-in-law or mother-in-law. They were just
No,
parents
they
of the
were-
girl you're dating, right?
yeah.
And I gotta say, like, as a dad, I love you now, but I didn't know that Alonzo. I don't know how excited I would have been about my daughter dating old Alonzo. How did they feel about this whole thing?
Well, my mother-in-law has always been so sweet. She's always too close to the Lord. She's always praying. She's an amazing woman, Mike. If you meet her, she's just something so special. Like I don't have words to describe her, but she opened her doors because she knows they don't have a license, driver license in the back. Then she say, "You know what? That's the first person to say honey to me." She say, "Honey, why you don't stay here in our house in the couch?" I'm like, "Shoot, should I stay?" And I know my father-in-law. I was like, he was really nice. I was not. I don't know. I was kind of like, oh. And she said, "Don't worry about it. Just stay in the couch. I'll talk to Gilbert." And then from there, I stay in their couch, Mike. And who will you invite me to your couch and say,
This Alonzo, yeah, old Alonzo. I don't know, especially if he's sniffing around my daughter.
yeah, it was incredible. So I started staying there after I hang out with my wife, and I spent there for maybe like 6 months. And then finally, I buy another house and I move into a different area. And well, no buy, and I just buy it through someone else. And I started doing the payments because I cannot have anything in my name. But I started renting that house or buying it because I was kind of buying it. And, and then I moved in there, and then from there, he is I mean, where I am right now, a lot of people probably think like, man, this guy, that nothing happened to him and all that. But I have so much crazy stuff, especially with my parents, my friends, the kind of my friends, and then to have that prayer when I was kind of died out. I died one time supposedly. I crashed in a car, and the fire department, my heart I think stopped, and they give me the shocks.
Mhm.
I can come back and breathe in. When I wake up, I was in the hospital and I was all connected. I'm like, what the heck happened? But anyway, it just, when I start seeing the Lord work in me and other people see me, and like people start making fun of you because you acting totally different than what you supposed to act. And like, well, that's no cool. You fake or whatever. It just, I'm very thankful, Mike, for the life that I live because I probably don't be this person right now if you had like a good family. Might be a spoiled brat kid. They don't care or appreciate the things that you have. So even though that I grew up with bad, I don't say bad parents because I don't know who's a good parent. I mean, like they were in different mindset. They were grew up with different mentality, and I don't want to say bad about my parents because they were who they were, and I think to them it was good to raise like that. They were raised like that, and that's the way they was raised. So I'm sorry they had to raise the same thing.
They might have been doing the best they could with the tools that they were given from their parents.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm very thankful the way that I grew up. Not thankful, but you know what I'm saying, Mike. I don't want to sound like yeah, he was thankful they was hanging out and don't have a good life or good parents or I don't want to sound like that, but it is when you come in this level where I am. I always say like I'm wealthy as wealthiest man in the world because thanks to you as well, Mike. Because these 3 years that I've been with you, I've been learning a lot. I've been growing a lot personally, mentally. Uh, and it's just amazing for other people that like they come here. If they ever hear this, I really recommend them to just look at where you come from. You really why you come here for that reason to continue doing the same thing or to better yourself. Because a lot of people come here for a reason because they say this is the land of the opportunity. And some people they're like, oh yeah, they come here and they're still mad at this land. And it's a whole different level. But I will say to those people, you can do in this country whatever you want if you put your mind into it. If you really want to know where you want to be, if you don't do it, it's because you don't really want to do it. But in here is this land of United States is really powerful if you know how to grow yourself first and then move on.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think what you said summed it up nicely with, if you don't do it in the United States of America, it's because you really don't want to do it. And a lot of people don't like that because it puts it's easier to go, well, the government did this, or my color, or my gender, or my whatever's the reason, which feels good, but doesn't really get us where we want to go. There's rich people, poor people, black people, white people, Hispanic people. Easy to blame external things, but disempowering, right? If we depend on the government or our race or gender or age or IQ or education, we get what we get. But if we just decide, Alonzo's got strengths I don't have, I have strengths he doesn't have. So I love Alonzo going, I'm just going to do the best I can with what I got. So Cleaning Nation, just if you're going, what was that? This is a weird podcast. We haven't, the reason was, honest to goodness, I found Alonzo's story just to be super compelling. I love your story about meeting God. I feel like we, sometimes I don't say I feel guilty, but honestly, I feel like the most valuable thing I have to give to you guys, Cleaning Nation, is my faith and my belief in Jesus and eternity. And I know y'all come to me for help with growing your cleaning company. So I want to make sure I honor that and not, like bait and switch. But also sometimes I worry, like what good does it do if we help people make more money or have more time freedom, but they don't have the eternity, the important things get missed. So it wasn't even a spiritual thing, but I'm glad Alonzo shared just that part of his story. And that, to me, that was the most impactful, just watching God saying, I have a plan for Alonzo, right? And when he was 9 doing drugs in the street, any of the rest of us could have seen him and go, there's no plan for this kid. He's going to be dead. He has nothing to offer this world, nothing. And then when Alonzo moved to Mexico City at 11 and the United States at 14 and on his potential deathbed at 18 or 19, anyone else with a half a brain would have said, this kid's nothing. He's worthless. He's a terrible human being. God's like, no, that's I have a plan for Alonzo and I know who he is and I've chosen him. And just the fact that Caitlin came into his life and Caitlin's mom was, and dad, like a lot of moms and dads with Alonzo's story where he wouldn't have been that loving and welcoming, and just that she was so faithful and be like, I just love how God orchestrated the circumstances he did. And if I'm you, I'm like, there's got to be something. God didn't, God, there's a reason he gave me all these gifts. And I'm just excited to see what that is for you and Caitlin and your beautiful family. You're just the kind of guy I wanted to share with Clean Nation. So hopefully you got some value, Clean Nation. If you're like, when are we going to talk about cleaning? Well, the other 590 some or 600 some episodes, I promise we'll talk about how to grow a cleaning company. I just love Alonzo as a person. I love a story and I felt compelled to share it, and hopefully feel free, give me some feedback. If you're like, I would like more stories like this, I would like more stuff that's not necessarily cleaning, let me know. If you're like, that was a complete waste of my time, don't you ever do that? I don't know if I'll listen, but I'll take the feedback. Let me know. That's what I had to sum up. Alonzo, I'm going to let you finish. Any closing parting words of wisdom or encouragement to Cleaning Nation?
Webson, well, I just want to say this because I was in that position where I want to use I just wanted the secret sauce to success. I want to be a millionaire like that. But everybody knows that if you are not committed and be working hard, because everything comes with, if you work hard, you're going to get it. If you don't work hard, you won't get it. You give up. So you got to grow up, you discipline and commit it and repeat what you want to do, because nobody's going to hand it to you. They might be handed to you, but it's not working. So doesn't matter where you come. I have a teacher not too long ago. She straight say to us, look at you guys. You guys don't want to be a millionaires. You guys don't want to do anything. And I was like, what the heck am I doing here? I'm come over here to learn this language so I can improve better and I can grow my business. So when with person telling you that, don't believe that. Believe in yourself and believe that you can do anything if you put your mind into it. And it's hard. It's not going to be something simple. It's going to be like, Mike, here you go. Here's the circuits. Go get it. No, it's going to be hard behind. Work be hard behind. And if you're really committed and you want to change your life, you got to do it. You got to work hard. Doesn't matter. Sometimes you got to work a lot of hours. Sometimes you don't. Well, make sure if you committed and you want to do it, just do it. And don't hear for other people, because other people is going to come over and tell you, That's impossible. How can you do that? There's no way that you can go up there. And like Mike always say, push those people away because they're not doing what you're doing. And you the only one can do what you can do. And that's all.
Well said, buddy. Wise words from a wise man. Cleaning Nation, hope you dug it. If you did, let me know. Would love feedback. This is kind of a weird podcast. I shouldn't say weird, but just different from a normal format. Would love feedback. If you like it, don't like it, let me know. If you want more, growmycleaningcompany.com. All of our free stuff. And if you join the Facebook group, it's free. There's 15,000 members. I think Alonzo's in there. I know he's in our paid stuff. I don't know if he is, but if people are big, fat, huge Alonzo fans and want more, where can they reach out to you, man? Email, company name, just give us a, who are you? Where can they find you?
Oh, wow. I didn't expect that one. Well, you can go to our industrial office cleaning and you can look it up our website. And if you want to contact me is 574-310-7782.
There you go. Alonzo's the best. Appreciate the heck out of you, man. Clean Nation. Enjoy. Talk to you soon. Well, here we are at the end of the podcast, and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you before for sticking through with me, but like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share with a friend, share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431. That's 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now. 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.